From Lanthwaite Green, the road to Buttermere twists along the edge of the common below the bulk of Grassmoor, separated from the shore of Crummock Water by no more than a narrow strip of fields. It opens to a view up the lake with Rannerdale Knots projecting into it, which must be one of the most photographed and painted scenes in the Lake District. Beside the lake, in front of Rannerdale Knots, lies a triangle of bright green, stone-walled fields where Rannerdale Beck comes down from the slopes of Whiteless Pike. Rannerdale proper lies behind the green fields, tucked away behind the craggy knots. It's a stone-walled pasture named on the map as High Rannerdale, dotted with the remains of woodland, and it is a place where people have once lived and gone. Remains of what are probably medieval dwellings survive not far from the beckside, shaded by an ancient spreading crabapple tree, just above the limit of the cultivated land. In May, the valley is carpeted with bluebells, giving Rannerdale its popular name, the Bluebell Valley. To sit there on a breezy day in the spring sunshine is to be assailed by a feast for the senses. Patches of golden gorse blaze out from the soft mauve carpet of bluebells which clothe the valley, running up the lower slopes until they fade out in the browns of last year's bracken and rushes, not yet replaced by new growth. The pungent smell of fox, carried on the breeze, cuts through the heavy scent of the rowans as they come into flower. In the background is the sound of constant movement. Wind in the trees, the beck tumbling over rocks, lambs bleating, the croak of a raven over the crags. Many visitors also know Rannerdale by another name, the Secret Valley. This name was the product of the imagination of one man, Nicholas Size, the proprietor of the Victoria Hotel, now the Bridge Hotel, at Buttermere. In 1929, he published a slim volume under the title The Secret Valley, a picture of the great events which took place in unconquered Lakeland during Norman times. The story told of a Norman attempt to subdue Lakeland and of how Earl Burtar, leader of the native Norse, held out against them from his stronghold in a secret valley deep in the fells. It culminated in a final push by the Norman Lord of Cumberland, whose army, coming up the valley from Cockermouth, were tricked into moving up Rannerdale, where they were surrounded by Burtar's forces and cut to pieces. It's a vivid, gruesome tale, and also an Atelier's clever, barely disguised advertisement for Buttermere. What is remarkable about Nicholas Size's slim flight of fancy is how the story of the Secret Valley has fused with Rannerdale to become part of the spirit of the place, carrying the visitor's imagination into a purely fictional past. It was believed, and indeed has been embellished, Rannerdale has become the Secret Valley, although in Size's story the Secret Valley was Burtar's stronghold at Buttermere, hidden at the head of Crummock around the corner of Rannerdale Knots. Rannerdale was merely the battlefield. In popular imagination, the bluebells have become the annual efflorescence of the blood of the slain Normans. In the first edition of the story, Size wrote merely that Rannerdale was like a charnel house, but today all you can say is that there are more bluebells there than anywhere else. But in the second edition he added, and perhaps there may be something in Omar Khayyam's idea that the loveliest flowers may spring from some dead Caesar's breast. It's a skillful suggestion, which was quickly taken up as fact. Just as Nicholas Size seized on and manipulated snatches of history and the richness of place names to weave his fiction, so his story has become indelibly linked with Rannerdale.